Well, folks, I've had this 2020 C8 Corvette for exactly 1 week right now. I literally just pulled back into my house from a 1 week, essentially a break-in road trip down Highway 1 down the Washington and Oregon coast. And we went down as far as Monterey, we'll call that NorCal, and then decided to turn around and come back. We really didn't have an agenda other than to put some miles on this new car and kind of get a feel for it. So I wanted to do two quick videos here. I'm gonna do with, let's see, I got just under 2,600 miles on it now, and like I said, 1 week of experience with it. And I kind of wanted to focus on some smaller details that I haven't really heard a lot of people talking about. We could go in about the transmission or the horsepower or the performance and all that kind of stuff. But I like, just after a week, I wanted to focus on little smaller things that I haven't really heard anybody else talking about. So I came up with a list of 5 dislikes and 5 likes that I about this car after 1 week experience with it. So I will go straight into the list, and I'm going to do the dislike video first. So here's 5 things that I'm not crazy about this car, and I was actually kind of struggling to come up with 5 things, because truth be told, I absolutely love the car. They're just tiny little things, like I said, tiny little minute things that kind of got under my skin. So then you'll probably laugh at this first one, but here goes. The blinker and the high beam lever. It's too far forward. I have kind of average size hands, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. When I put my hand on the steering wheel, like, I can't reach, like, my fingers barely touch that lever. So you kind of have to readjust your hand on the wheel to reach that blinker lever. Hope you can see that. So the blinker and or the high beam and low beam lever. So again, very small thing, but I just noticed it right away that man, I have to actually reach a little bit for that. I have a hunch that it's due to the paddle shifter. Like, they probably didn't want it too close to the paddle shifter, so that may have been a design thing that they had to do it that way to make it work. So again, very small. And honestly, the other lever on the other side, essentially your windshield wipers and the fluid and stuff like that, it's the same distance, but you don't use it as much, so I didn't notice that side as much as the blinker and the high beam lever. Number 2, the sun visors. They were almost kind of a joke. And again, do we really care about the sun visor? These things are tiny, for one thing. And they did okay blocking, like if the sun was coming in directly, but they really didn't do anything off to the side. I've seen some sun visors that have an actual slide insert, so you can extend this thing out here. But these things were pretty small. Again, it's the tiniest, smallest thing that I wasn't crazy about. Number 3, this is probably a little bit more major. I'm not crazy about the driver mode control lever, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This knob right here, it's just a twist back and forth. It goes left or right. This is just like a place to rest your hand, and it's not a mouse. There's no clicking or anything like that. It's just left and right, and I was just not crazy about that. I think that maybe, I don't know honestly why, maybe that the knob is kind of a little bit difficult to turn left and right, and I honestly can't put my finger on what it is about that I don't like. So obviously that goes through all the different modes, and it's kind of a one way, and then it hits a dead end. Like, you can go to the left, it goes all the way. In fact, I'm going to show you. So this is all the way to the left, and you can see right down here that we're in weather mode. If I keep going left, it won't go any further, so it doesn't loop around. So then you start going to the right, it goes into my mode. You can see the displays change. Then it goes into tour mode, takes a minute. and there's the tour. There's the sport mode, and the display changes a little, and then go into track mode. The whole thing blacks out for a second, and see, now that I'm in track mode, if I keep going to the right, it won't go any further. It won't roll over back to that weather mode. So I just wasn't crazy about that, the mode control there on the center console. Here's another thing that I'm not too wild about, and this is semi-significant, I guess you could say, is the transmission when it shifts when you're just in fully, here, I'll put it in into drive, and you're now into auto. I just wasn't crazy about how kind of aggressively the automatic transmission shifts. It's fine, kind of just putting around town, light to light kind of thing. It was also fine cruising on the interstate on my way. We took Highway 1 down, and then I took I-5 back up north. So on the way down, I never used cruise control. I really didn't use, I was in manual most of the way down because it's a windier road. Coming back up I-5, different story. I was, cruising along at 75, 80, whatever, cruise control set. It's fine in auto whenever, but if you, like, say you wanted to pass somebody, so you just step on the gas and cause it to downshift, to me, it just seemed like it was too aggressive. Like, I just kind of, like, I'm rolling down the interstate, I kind of want to just roll into it and pass somebody, but man, it just seemed like it kicked down automatically. So what I got used to is essentially just paddling my shifters myself with it in automatic, and then let the auto mode take over. So again, I just seemed like it was a little abrupt, and that might be due to some of the settings, whatever, if I'm touring or sport mode or whatever. So that is the number two thing. The number one complaint that I have about this car is that the Apple CarPlay, you have to plug in your phone with a cord. I'll show you where I'm talking about that. So you go into the main menu and the Apple CarPlay. So there's no Bluetooth. You can connect the phone to your car Bluetooth, so you can take phone calls or text, but you have to plug in to your center console, plug it in, plug your phone in to get, I'll go ahead and do this. I'll go ahead and do this, and as it's coming up, it should take a second, and you'll see that Apple CarPlay option. Come on, there it turned. So now, let's see, I'm going to drive to work, get that going on Waze, and it's syncing. So now you can go into the CarPlay, and there's your Waze mode. So for me, driving around, this is how I drive. Got your dash settings, and then your map up on there. You can't, let me stop that thing so we get rid of the, let me get out of there. So you can't, and I have a 1LT. I think I should make that disclaimer too. I believe the 2 and the 3 have their own navigation sources. So in the 1LT, oops, hit the home, there's no navigation really other than the Apple CarPlay. I think the 2 and the 3LT might have its own internal navigation. So getting the Apple CarPlay on there is the really only way you can get a map up on there and navigate to that. And like I said, the only way to get that Apple CarPlay is through the cord. I believe the 21s are going to Bluetooth, as about every other car in the world has Bluetooth capabilities to do that. So what that causes you to do, you got to have your phone out, and there's already kind of limited storage. So this is how I do. I just run the cord, and I usually just throw my phone in the cup holder, or if I had drinks in there, I would just set it there, and it would be out of the way anyway. So those are my top 5 dislikes of the car. Again, the blinker and the high beam lever, the sun visors, the driver remote control switch or knob, if you will, the DCT in auto, and certain regimes, I guess, if you say, and then finally the Apple CarPlay with the cord plugging into it. Again, not major things. I will go on to, if you tune in here shortly, I'll have the top 5 things that I liked about this car, and honestly, some of the things that I liked about it kind of chime off or bounce off of some of the dislikes. So anyway, that's my input on it. I thought I would touch on some very small, minute specifics that I haven't really heard anybody talking about. Otherwise, love the car. You couldn't pry it out of my hands, honestly. So it was a little bit hard to make a video of talking about things that I didn't like about it, but there you have it. All right, take care. Like I said, we're hopefully have some more videos of this car. I'm taking it down the highway one, man, that just really made me want to get this thing on the track. Like I don't like, you know, you coming up to corners, you don't know if there's potholes or big frost heaves or whatever in the corners, so, or a deer jumps out in front of you or whatever. So like, I'm just kind of being responsible, and probably the older I get, the more conservative I am with driving fast on the road. So that's my take. But I really want to wring this thing out. I can't wait to get it on the track, and looking forward to doing some videos of that. So stay tuned to the channel, and we'll keep you updated on those. Thanks for watching.